The massive display screen cast a soft blue glow across Admiral Reed's aged face as he sat alone in the galactic archives. His wrinkled hand traced the floating text of the ancient warning, words that had protected the galaxy for over 300 years. The message was simple: never engage with humans. Reed sighed, his four-fingered hand moving through the holographic display to open another file. The human solar system glowed in front of him, a restricted zone marked with pulsing red borders. As head of the Stellar Federation's Security Council, he had spent countless hours studying these records, trying to understand why such a primitive species warranted such caution. The answer lay in the historical records of three once mighty civilizations, all of them now extinct. The first had been the Metal Minds, a race of beings who had mastered artificial intelligence 10,000 years before humans invented the wheel. They had seen Earth as an easy target, a primitive world rich in resources. Their robotic armies had descended from the skies, expecting an easy victory. 6 months later, the humans had turned the Metal Minds' own machines against them. Where the aliens had programmed rigid, predictable attack patterns, humans created chaos. They made their stolen robots learn, adapt, and evolve. Within a year, the Metal Minds' entire civilization had collapsed, their own creations hunting them to extinction. Reed pulled up the second file. The Lightweavers had attacked 300 years after the Metal Minds' defeat. Masters of energy manipulation, they had brought weapons that could turn matter into pure light. Their first attack had vaporized a small human city. 3 weeks later, humans had figured out how to reflect the energy weapons back at their creators. 2 months after that, they had improved the technology to pierce any known shield. The Lightweavers' homeworld had become a memorial to their hubris, transformed into a sphere of pure energy that still burned in distant space. The third and final record made Reed's scales ripple with discomfort. The Space Shapers had been the most advanced of all, capable of folding space itself. They had tried a more subtle approach, attempting to secretly study humans from hidden bases throughout their solar system. A human research vessel had accidentally discovered one of their bases. Instead of running in fear, the humans had captured the base. Within months, they had not only mastered space-folding technology, but had found ways to detect the Space Shapers' hidden outposts. The war that followed had been brief but devastating. The Space Shapers had literally been folded out of existence, their matter compressed into new dimensions humans had discovered. Reed closed the files, his third heart beating faster than the others. The pattern was clear in all three cases. Humans didn't just copy technology, they improved it. They found new uses, new applications, new ways to turn scientific advancement into weapons. Where other species took generations to master new concepts, humans did it in months, sometimes weeks. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. A message flickered on his screen. A routine report from Captain Stone of the exploration vessel, Starseeker. Reed's eyes widened as he read the coordinates. The ship was operating dangerously close to human space. He quickly typed out a response. Reminder: Sector 7 borders restricted space. Maintain distance per Galactic Law 5.3. The captain's reply came quickly. Understood, Admiral. Just passing through. Nothing to worry about. But Reed could feel his scales tingling. A warning sign his species had developed over millions of years of evolution. He looked back at the ancient records, at the graves of civilizations that had underestimated humanity. Computer, he spoke softly, flag all reports from the Starseeker for my immediate attention. As he stood to leave the archives, the blue glow of the warning text reflected off his uniform. Never engage with humans. The price of ignorance is extinction. He could only hope Captain Stone had enough sense to heed that warning. But something in his third heart told him that humanity's isolation was about to end. And with it, the peace of the galaxy. Captain Stone stood at the viewport of the Starseeker, his tall frame reflected in the reinforced glass as he watched his mining drones deploy. The 8th planet of this system, the humans called it Neptune, spun slowly below, its blue surface hiding rich deposits of rare minerals. "Sir," his first officer, Major Wells, approached with a datapad. "We've received another warning from Command about operating in this sector." Stone waved his hand dismissively, all three of his eyes focused on the mining operation. "Command is stuck in the past, Wells. Look at our scans of Earth. They're still using primitive chemical rockets to reach their own moon. They can barely detect objects at the edge of their system. But the laws were written by cowards." Stone turned, his scaled skin shimmering under the bridge lights. "Do you know how much these minerals are worth? One successful mining operation here is worth more than 5 years of standard exploration." Wells shifted uncomfortably. "The humans are primitives who got lucky against ancient civilizations," Stone interrupted. "Our technology has advanced far beyond anything they've ever seen. Our cloaking devices are perfect. They won't even know we're here." On the view screen, the first mining drone disappeared beneath Neptune's swirling clouds. Stone smiled as the initial readings came in. The mineral deposits were even richer than their scans had suggested. His third eye tracked the data stream while his other two watched the operation unfold. "Begin setting up the processing station," he ordered. "I want 3 drones active by the end of their Earth day." The bridge crew worked efficiently, their movements practiced from years of similar operations. But Stone noticed how they glanced nervously at the distant blue marble of Earth whenever it came into view. Superstition and fear, he thought. That's all it was. "Sir," the sensor operator called out, "I'm detecting some unusual readings from the human planet Mars. It looks like they have some kind of research station there." Stone walked to the sensor station, checking the readings himself. "Primitive structures," he said after a moment. "Probably barely habitable. Nothing that could detect us out here." The first mineral shipment arrived in the processing station 2 hours later. Stone held up a crystal of pure nexidium, a rare element that powered their fastest ships. In its raw form, it glowed with a soft purple light. "Send a coded message to our buyers," he told Wells. "Tell them we found a source that will last decades." "Captain," Wells hesitated, "if we're discovered." Stone laughed. "By whom?" "The humans. They'd have to get here first, and their fastest ships would take years to reach Neptune. Even if they did, our technology is centuries ahead of theirs." He walked back to the viewport, watching as his second mining drone disappeared into Neptune's atmosphere. Everything was proceeding perfectly. In a few months, he'd be rich enough to buy his own planet. "Sir," the communications officer spoke up, "I'm detecting some odd transmissions from Earth. They seem to be directing more satellites and telescopes toward this sector." Normal scientific curiosity. Stone dismissed it. "Our cloaking technology is beyond their ability to detect. Keep the mining operation running at full capacity." As he stared out at the vast expanse of space, Stone imagined his name in the history books. Not as a cautious fool who feared primitive species, but as the one who proved the old laws wrong. He would show everyone that humans were nothing special. Unknown to him, at that very moment, a small human research vessel was already changing course to investigate some strange energy readings near Neptune. The ship's name was written in simple white letters: Curiosity. Stone's pride had just lit the fuse of a galactic powder keg, and humanity was about to remind the galaxy why they were meant to be left alone. Commander Gray stood in the control room of the research vessel, Curiosity, her eyes fixed on the strange energy readings appearing on the main screen. The ship had been on a routine mission to check on the automated research stations near Neptune when their sensors had picked up something impossible. "Run the scan again," she ordered, her voice calm despite the excitement building in her chest. "Already did it 3 times, Commander," replied Tech Officer Wilson, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "These energy signatures don't match anything in our database. They're not natural, and they're definitely not ours." Gray leaned closer to the display, studying the mysterious patterns. After 20 years in space, she had learned to trust her instincts. Something was very wrong here, or very right, depending on how you looked at it. "What's our current position relative to Neptune?" We're holding at 50,000 kilometers from the energy source, Wilson answered, still well outside any detection range, assuming whoever's out there has similar technology to ours. Gray allowed herself a small smile. That was a big assumption, and they all knew it. Show me the visual spectrum. The main screen shifted, showing the vast blue expanse of Neptune. At first glance, everything looked normal. But as they watched, something flickered, like a heat wave in the desert. There, Wilson pointed. Every 12 minutes, there's a slight distortion. Something's moving in and out of that sector. Gray made her decision. Take us in closer. Passive sensors only. And Wilson, initiate the quiet protocol. The bridge crew straightened in their seats. The quiet protocol was something new. A system that shut down all non-essential systems and masked their energy signature. It cut their detection range by half, but it also made them nearly invisible to standard scanning methods. As they crept closer to Neptune, the distortions became more obvious. Something big was hiding out there, cloaked by technology far beyond current human capabilities. "Ma'am," called out Sensor Officer Baker, "I'm picking up traces of refined minerals. Whatever's out there, they're mining." Gray's eyes narrowed. Aliens mining in their solar system. This was either first contact or an invasion, and she needed to know which. "Hold position," she ordered as they reached 10,000 kilometers from the source. "Launch a passive probe. Let's see what our friends are up to." The tiny probe, no bigger than a coffee can, silently detached from the Curiosity. Its surface was covered in experimental metamaterials that absorbed radar and light, making it nearly invisible. For 20 tense minutes, they watched the probe's feed. Then they saw it, a massive ship, partially visible when its cloaking field fluctuated during mining operations. Strange drones moved in and out of Neptune's atmosphere, carrying something that glowed purple. "Look at that technology," Wilson whispered. "Those energy readings. They're decades, maybe centuries ahead of us." "Yes," Gray said softly, "but they made 3 mistakes. First, they assumed we couldn't detect them. Second, they came into our home system. And third," she pointed at a piece of mining equipment that had broken off from one of the drones and was slowly drifting away from the main operation. "They got sloppy." "Commander," Baker's voice was urgent, "we could retrieve that debris. The quiet protocol should keep us hidden long enough." Gray considered the risks. If they were detected, they'd have no chance against such advanced technology. But the potential gain. "Plot an intercept course," she ordered. "We've got one shot at this. Let's show our visitors why curiosity is humanity's greatest strength." As the Curiosity silently glided toward its target, Gray thought about how this moment would change everything. Humanity was no longer alone. And soon, they would have proof. What they did with that proof would shape the future of their species. She just hoped they were ready for what came next. The underground laboratory beneath the Nevada desert hummed with activity. 3 months had passed since the Curiosity's return with its precious cargo, and humanity had made more technological progress in those 90 days than in the previous 50 years combined. Dr. Reed, no relation to the alien admiral, stood before a wall of screens, each displaying different aspects of the recovered alien technology. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but they sparkled with excitement. "Show me the cloaking test results again," he said to his team. The main screen lit up with footage from that morning's experiment. A full-sized battleship, sitting in the middle of the desert, simply vanished. But unlike the alien version they detected near Neptune, this cloaking field left no energy signature at all. "We didn't just copy their technology," Dr. Reed explained to the watching military officials. "We improved it. Their system uses enormous amounts of energy. Ours uses less power than a car battery." Commander Gray, recently promoted to Fleet Admiral, stepped forward. "How soon can we begin production?" "We're already manufacturing the first 100 units," Reed replied. "But that's not the best part." He switched to another screen showing the purple crystal they'd recovered. This is what they were mining. They use it as fuel. We found a way to use it as a weapon. The demonstration that followed left the military officials speechless. The tiny crystal, when processed through human design systems, produced enough energy to power a small city. When weaponized, it could punch through any known material. In another section of the facility, engineers were putting the finishing touches on humanity's first advanced space fleet. The ships looked nothing like their alien counterparts. Where the alien vessels were sleek and standardized, human ships were irregular, unpredictable, and far more heavily armed. We learned from history, Gray told the assembled leaders. Every species that's ever attacked Earth made the same mistake. They built perfect, predictable systems. We've designed our ships to be adaptable, to change tactics on the fly. No two ships are exactly alike. The briefing room fell silent as satellite footage appeared on the main screen. The alien mining operation near Neptune continued, its operators still unaware they'd been discovered. They think they're invisible, Gray continued. They think we're primitive. That's our advantage. When we launch, they won't be expecting ships that can match their technology. They certainly won't expect ships that can surpass it. A general raised his hand. What about their weapons? Their defenses? Dr. Reed smiled. We've run 10,000 simulations. Their defensive systems are good, but they're designed to fight threats they understand. We're building weapons they've never seen before. They're expecting spears. We're bringing a thunderstorm. In orbit, the first of humanity's new ships prepared for its shakedown cruise. Named Evolution, it carried weapons reverse-engineered from alien technology, but modified in ways the original designers had never imagined. Its hull was covered in improved cloaking systems that didn't just bend light. They erased the ship from existence itself. The ship's captain, former Tech Officer Wilson from the Curiosity, ran his hand along a control panel that seemed to glow under his touch. All systems are green, he reported, ready to begin tests of the new drive system. Admiral Gray watched from the control center as the Evolution disappeared into the darkness of space. In just 3 months, humanity had jumped centuries ahead in technology. But they hadn't just copied what they'd found. They transformed it, improved it, turned it into something new. Send word to all commands, she ordered. Operation Awakening begins in 72 hours. Let's show our visitors why the galaxy fears humanity's creativity. The countdown to first contact had begun, and humanity was ready. Captain Stone was enjoying his evening meal when the alarms began to scream. He rushed to the Star Seeker's bridge, nearly colliding with Major Wells at the doorway. Report, he barked, all 3 eyes focusing on the main display. Sir, Mining Drone 7 has suffered a critical malfunction, Wells replied, his scales pale with worry. Its cloaking system is completely offline. Stone felt his heart skip a beat. The drone was fully visible, hanging in space near Neptune like a beacon. Shut it down. Recall it immediately. Sir, the sensor operator's voice shook. We're detecting launches from Earth. Multiple vessels on an intercept course. Stone almost laughed. Human ships. They would take days to reach Neptune. His laughter died when new data appeared on the screen. The approaching vessels were moving at impossible speeds. That's not possible, he whispered. They can't have. The first human ship appeared directly in front of his vessel, seeming to step out of nothing. Stone stumbled back. The ship was ugly by his standards, all sharp angles and irregular patterns. But what terrified him was its size. It was massive, easily twice the length of the Star Seeker. Open communications, he ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. Perhaps we can. The human ship fired, not with the primitive weapons Stone had expected, but with a beam of pure purple energy, Nexidium-powered weapons. The beam cut through the Star Seeker's shields like they weren't there. Impossible, Stone screamed. Those are our weapons, our technology. Sir, Wells pointed at the screen. More ships appearing. They came from all directions, dozens of human vessels, each different from the others. Some were visible, some flickered in and out of existence, and others seemed to bend the light around them in ways Stone had never seen. "Return fire," Stone ordered. "Show these primitives what real technology can do." The Starseeker's weapons sprayed energy into space, but the human ships moved in ways that defied physics, their patterns random and unpredictable. Not a single shot connected. "Sir," the weapons officer reported, "they're not just using our technology. They've improved it. Their shields are absorbing our fire and getting stronger." Stone watched in horror as his mighty ship was surrounded. The humans weren't just copying his technology. They were using it in ways his people had never imagined. "Message from the human fleet," the communications officer announced. A face appeared on the main screen. Admiral Gray, though Stone didn't know her name. Her expression was calm, almost pitying. "Alien vessel," she said, "you have violated restricted space and attempted to steal resources from our solar system. Your mining operations end now." Stone drew himself up. "You dare threaten me? We are centuries ahead of." "Were," Gray interrupted. "You were centuries ahead of us." Past tense. She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Would you like to see what we've done with your technology in the past 3 months?" Before Stone could reply, his ship's systems began to shut down. Not from any external attack, they were being turned off from within. Somehow, the humans had already hacked his command codes. "Impossible," he whispered again, watching as his crew's panic turned to resignation. The last thing Stone saw before his ship lost power was the human fleet moving to surround his mining operation. Each vessel was different, each weapon unique, each strategy unpredictable. In 3 months, they hadn't just caught up to his technology. They had surpassed it. As his ship drifted powerless in space, Stone finally understood why the ancient laws had warned against engaging humans. It wasn't just their ability to copy technology. It was their terrifying ability to improve upon it, to imagine new possibilities, to turn centuries of development into mere stepping stones for their own advancement. The battle was over before it truly began, and somewhere in the galactic archives, Admiral Reed was about to receive a very disturbing report. Admiral Reed stood before the Stellar Federation Council, his normally neat uniform wrinkled from hours of emergency meetings. The council chamber, usually bright with floating lights, was dim, as if the very room sensed the darkness of the news he brought. "The Starseeker has been captured," he announced to the assembled alien leaders. "Captain Stone's mining operation was discovered by the humans 3 months ago. They've taken our technology and improved it beyond our understanding." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 50 different species all tried to speak at once. Council leader Max, a tall being with crystalline skin, raised all 4 of his hands for silence. "Improved our technology? In 3 months?" Max's voice echoed through the chamber. "That's not possible. It took us centuries to develop those systems." Reed activated a hologram in the center of the room. It showed the battle near Neptune. Human ships appearing from nowhere, using weapons that shouldn't exist, moving in ways that violated known physics. "Look at their ships," Reed pointed out. "Each one is different. Where we perfect a design and stick to it, they experiment. They innovate. They imagine new possibilities we never considered. Then we must crush them now," shouted one of the council members, "before they grow stronger." Reed's scales darkened with worry. "You don't understand. They're already stronger. The Starseeker was one of our most advanced ships. They defeated it in minutes." The hologram shifted to show new images. Human ships taking apart the captured mining equipment, studying every piece, improving every system they found. Their speed of advancement wasn't just fast. It was accelerating. "We have 2 choices," Reed continued. "We can admit our violation of their space and seek peace, or we can go to war. But before you vote, remember the fate of the metal mines, the light weavers, and the space shapers." Council leader Max leaned forward. "Those are just stories. We are the Stellar Federation. We have 10,000 ships. Surely we can overwhelm one primitive species. Every ship we send will teach them more, Reed warned. Every piece of technology they capture will be turned against us, improved, enhanced. They don't think like us. Where we see perfection, they see possibility. Where we see finished technology, they see a starting point. But Reed could see in their eyes that they weren't listening. Pride and fear were a dangerous combination, and the Council had both in abundance. They couldn't accept that a primitive species could match them, let alone surpass them. The vote was quick and nearly unanimous. Despite Reed's warnings, the Council chose war. Send the first fleet, Max ordered. 2,000 ships. Show these humans the true might of the Stellar Federation. Reed watched as the orders were transmitted, his heart heavy with dread. In the hologram, he could see human ships already spreading through their solar system, setting up defenses, preparing for the coming storm. "You don't understand what you've done," he whispered, too quietly for anyone to hear. "Every ship we send is just another teaching tool for them. Every weapon we use is just another technology for them to improve." As he left the council chamber, Reed thought about the ancient warning he had read so many times: never engage with humans. It wasn't just a law. It was a desperate message from the past, written in the ashes of dead civilizations. The first fleet would launch within hours, 2,000 ships strong, carrying the most advanced technology in the known galaxy. Reed wondered how long it would take the humans to turn all of it into something new, something better, something terrifying. The true war was about to begin, and Reed feared it would be the Stellar Federation's last. 6 months after the first fleet launched, Admiral Reed stood in the ruins of the council chamber. The once magnificent hall was dark, its floating lights long dead. In the center, where the hologram projector had once shown star maps and battle plans, now stood a single human in a plain uniform. "The terms are simple," Admiral Gray said, her voice echoing in the empty chamber. "The Stellar Federation will survive, but it will change. Humanity claims a seat on the council, as equals, not subjects." Reed looked at the human admiral, remembering how quickly everything had fallen apart. The first fleet's attack had lasted less than a day. The humans hadn't just defeated the ships, they had captured them, studied them, and sent them back improved and under human control. The second fleet lasted 12 hours, Reed said quietly. The third fleet surrendered before firing a shot. How did you advance so quickly?" Gray smiled. "You perfected your technology. That was your mistake. Perfect things don't grow, don't change, don't evolve. Every ship you sent taught us something new. Every weapon we captured showed us new possibilities." The human admiral walked to a broken window, looking out at the Federation capital city. Human ships hung in the sky, their designs a strange mix of Federation technology and human innovation. No two were alike. "Your people built perfect shields that could stop any known weapon," Gray continued. "So we built weapons that became stronger when they hit shields. You made perfect stealth systems, so we created detection systems that used your own cloaking technology against you." Reed's scales rippled with understanding. "You didn't just copy our technology. You saw possibilities we never imagined. Because we never stopped asking, 'What if?'" Gray replied. "Your people see a finished product. We see a starting point. You seek perfection. We seek evolution." A human ship passed by the window, its hull seeming to ripple like water. Reed recognized parts of Federation technology in its design, but used in ways that should have been impossible. "The Council has accepted your terms," Reed said. "Some wanted to fight to the end. But after you turned the Fourth Fleet's own weapons against them." He shuddered at the memory. Gray nodded. "We don't want to destroy the Federation. We want to learn from you, trade with you, grow with you. But as equals, not as primitives to be exploited or ignored." Reed thought about the ancient warning, gathering dust in the archives. Never engage with humans. Now he understood. It wasn't just about their ability to fight back. It was about their ability to learn, to adapt, to take any advantage used against them and turn it into something new. I will help the Council adjust to the new reality, Reed offered. But tell me, what would you have done if we had come in peace, if we had offered to trade and share technology willingly? Gray's expression softened. Then we would have learned and grown together. War wasn't our choice, it was yours. The law was clear, Admiral Reed. Never engage humans in battle. Your people didn't listen. As Reed watched the human ships patrolling his homeworld skies, he began drafting a new warning in his mind. Not just never engage humans, but never underestimate humanity's ability to learn, to adapt, to evolve. The galaxy had changed forever. The Federation would survive, but it would never be the same. And in the depths of space, a new era was beginning. One where humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ships, but their endless drive to ask, what if? The price of pride had been paid. The lesson had been learned, and the stars themselves trembled at the thought of what humanity would imagine next.